I know for a lot of people it's very overwhelming to even be on camera. And the frustrating thing for us is that we see that a lot of people want to see the people behind the business, and business owners get scared and go, oh, but I don't want to be in front of the camera. I feel uncomfortable, awkward. We say to our clients, just jump on, like make a time and I do it all the time. I've hardly put anything of my own stuff up, but every Monday morning, just for 5 minutes, I'll put the camera on me and just do a little spiel. And, most of it's just sitting on my phone, or I'll delete it straight away, but it's just getting used to being in front of a camera, I guess.
Hi, I'm Jane Hilsden, marketing consultant and founder of Dragonfly Marketing and author of How to Do Marketing, a comprehensive guide for small businesses. Welcome to another episode of the How to Do Marketing show. One of the things I love about social media is that it is just so easy and practical and cost effective for small businesses to use as a marketing tool. With a little bit of out-of-the-box thinking, you don't need the mega bucks to invest in this platform to achieve a result. One marketer who is creating some pure magic for her clients on Instagram is Holly Manning. Holly is the director of Manning PR and Media, and she's actually based in Orange, New South Wales. Holly has spent her public relations career delivering creative campaigns and honing her skills in digital marketing. She started her business 6 years ago with her photographer/videographer husband, Kyle, and they build brands and boost businesses in regional New South Wales. Holly is a delight to chat with, and she has some really creative yet super practical and achievable ideas to share about how to create impact in your local region using Instagram. Holly, what do you love about using social media as a marketing and communications tool?
Oh, look, I think it's the accessibility and the connectivity. The fact that back when I was in the old days, when I started PR and we would put out a press release, and really the people we were forming relationships with were the media, because they were our connection to our consumers and our target audience. So we really had to rely on them telling our story. And now we can go straight to the source and talk to the target audience. And that's what I love about social media.
Great. Yeah. And me too. It's like that two-way kind of conversation. And as you said, just cutting the middleman out, it's so much more of a relationship that you can build. Yeah, I'd agree. Absolutely. And so then when you're working with businesses to promote them via social media, what are some of the goals and objectives that you would put in place before you start going out and kind of publishing content on their behalf?
Well, look, we spend a lot of time working on the message and the brand story, because that's what we need to go back to all the time. And we have some clients who I think they see what other people are doing and they go, oh, we want to do that, we want to do that. And we say, no, let's go back to what your message is and what your brand story is, and make sure that we're hitting the targets that we want to hit and connecting with the audience we want to connect with. And we get quite specific about the audiences because, as you know, I mean, with some clients, their target audience could be anyone, but we need to be really specific with our campaigns just to reach one audience, and the rest just kind of follow, or might be there, might not. But we just focus on one target audience with one campaign. And so really for us, the objective is to reach that audience and to build that audience. So we'll, for example, look at a law firm, and maybe they want to just look at sort of the educated, affluent people within the community. So they might also be targeting other people or have them as their clients, but we just want to focus on one specific audience. So we'll just create a message and a brand story and use that to focus on one audience.
Yeah, right. And how are some of the ways that you work with your client to really deep dive into that target audience? Like, how do you help them decide, well, who is it that we want to target with this content?
Yep. And look, so often, God, it's scary, but still the clients that we pull in and say, okay, let's have a look at your business plan, and who is your target audience? And so many don't know, and they've just never really sat down and worked it out.
Yeah.
I can't believe that. And I really say to people, just work out what your target audience is. And that is the main goal for us, is to work that out and then market to them.
Yeah.
So we spend quite a bit of time sitting down with a client, depending on who they are, and looking at who their current audience is.
Yep.
And try and work that one out, and then say, okay, that's your current audience. That's great. But now let's look at who you want, who you'd love to have coming in the door, or who you can see as your future audience, or who aren't you reaching at the moment that you'd like to reach. Or maybe it's just looking at the ones that you reach at the moment, but getting them in more consistently. So we do spend a lot of time working on the target audience and making sure that the client is aware of who that audience is.
Yeah.
Looking at the demographics and everything else, the psychographics, the whole thing.
Yeah. And I think you make a really good distinction there in terms of the existing audience, like who are your current customers and who do you want your current customers to be? Because sometimes we'll have a mixture of clients who are really, really good for our business. And when we say really good, we mean kind of profitable, and who are nice people to work with, and who are also likely to value our services and not get stuck on the price or get stuck on, detail that just ultimately, shouldn't matter in the value proposition. And then most importantly, the types of clients that we want to go on and tell other people about us, because they have found the process valuable, and they've worked with us to make sure that social media marketing works and all that sort of stuff. So that then, that everybody gets a good result. It's a win-win.
Yeah, absolutely. You want those advocates.
Yeah, and some clients that you work with are not ideal. So it's absolutely right that you have to kind of go, well, out of your existing clients, who are the good ones and who are the ones that we don't want any more of? And then from a new client perspective, who else is out there that we perhaps haven't touched on, or we haven't reached? I think that's a really good point. And you also mentioned demographics, looking at people from a demographic and a psychographic. And if there's small businesses there that are unfamiliar with those terminologies, the demographics means like, how old are these people? What's their education level? What's their income level? Where are they based geographically? Do they have kids? All of that kind of content, all of that kind of information. And the psychographics relates to how they think. So, what drives decisions that they make? What is their biggest problem in life that we can help solve? What do they aspire to be, et cetera, et cetera. So,
that's right. And I think looking at even creating an avatar or almost visualizing a person, we found it really helpful when we're trying to be the voice of a company, because we have so many different clients and we're talking to people on social media. So we might have, for example, our painter who's just he's a tradie, he's a blokey bloke, but he's also, he's going to be in the houses of women who are at home, quite often. They want to feel comfortable around him. He's into wine, which is something that most, tradies may not be into. So we need to look at his avatar, but we also need to look at his target audience avatar. So when I mean avatar, I mean like almost create here's Judy, and she likes to drink coffee with her girlfriends. She has 2 children. She's at home. Her husband's out. And she's going to be a potential client. So she'll need something to talk to you about. She doesn't want to feel awkward around you. So, why would she need a painter? Is she the decision maker? Yes, quite often.
Yes.
When it comes to things like, nearly always. Getting into that mindset of let's put a visual around her and actually draw her up and see what she does all day. And that gives us a really good sense of how to talk to her.
Yeah, and it gives the avatar, I guess, a personality. It makes that person real. And, as we said before, social media is this channel that you can actually have conversations with people. So it helps if you actually know the type of people that you're aiming to have conversations with.
Yep, absolutely.
And I think that's a really good point that you make around that you're building kind of two avatars there, you know, who the client is, particularly if the business has a person or people within that business that are going to go out and be the front face of that organisation and dealing with the customers, and having a particular avatar for that, because it makes sense to kind of match this person from the business with this person who is the customer, and work out, well, what is it that you're going to have in common. I love that your painter has a penchant for wine.
He's awesome. Yep. He actually, he's it's just this, well, he's one guy, but he's got a whole team. He's actually really busy, but he values what we can bring to his business in terms of marketing. And we started with Instagram with him a long time ago, and Facebook. But we found that his hashtag, the bald painter, which we started up, it took off. And now people know him as the bald painter from Instagram. So it's hilarious.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's awesome. Oh, there you go, the bald painter. I'm going straight to go and search that up.
Oh, good.
So, speaking of social media platforms, what's your favourite social media platform to work with, and why?
Okay, well, definitely Instagram, for so many reasons. I think there are no parameters with Instagram. It's the same with Facebook. I mean, you're so flexible in the medias that you can use, so video, photos, and just writing. But with Instagram, it really is about the imagery, and our business is very much photo, video focused. So that's why we love Instagram. And I think also the interaction that we're seeing on it, I think people go to Facebook Facebook's fantastic, and we'd never drop that at all. But I personally go to Facebook to see what my friends are doing, and to spend time with family. And I sometimes feel if the business isn't getting it right on Facebook, I feel like they're interrupting me. And disruptive marketing is great as well, but it has to be right. Whereas with Instagram, I find that people go on there knowing that there are businesses there, and they're following businesses they expect to be marketed to from businesses, and they're ready to shop. And that is amazing. So for me, the fact that you can build relationships, people don't feel like they're being it's not confronting. They don't feel like you're getting in their way. They want to see content from you as long as it's beautiful imagery. Mostly like a lot of females, but men are getting onto Instagram more and more as well. We're seeing, I think January 2020, there's 16 million active users in Australia on Facebook.
Yeah.
Then YouTube would be next, 15 million on YouTube. And then the next one is Instagram with 9 million monthly active users. So it's growing and growing. And there are just so many different areas. It's almost overwhelming with, you've got your news feed, but then you've got Insta stories, and you've got the highlights, and you've got IGTV. And I think what Facebook and Instagram, who are both owned by the same company, as we know, Mark Zuckerberg, I think what they're trying to do is be everything to everyone. They're trying to do the Snapchat thing with Insta stories, and they want to be YouTube with IGTV, and they're pulling it all in. And at the moment, with things like Insta story and IGTV, Insta story's got advertising in it a little bit, but not many people are using that. IGTV, there's no advertising yet. So it's like this beautiful free area where you can watch lots of beautiful things and not be interrupted. So I'm sure that will change, but for now.
Yeah, wow, that's a really good reason to love Instagram. And yes, I think I love your distinction in terms of, as a user, you feel like Facebook's almost that sacred kind of intimate space for you and your friends and your family to share. So you feel like you're being invaded a little bit by brands that aren't getting the advertising right, as you say. If they're slotting into the news feed and they're valuable to you, okay, forgiven. But if they're not, bugger off. And I love that yeah, that you said, that in Instagram people are probably a little bit more prepared for brands to be there and to show up. And I'm sure too that people don't have a tolerance for the brands that are getting it wrong on Instagram and they can scroll straight past them, but that they're ready to buy. I think that's a really, really good reason to be there if you're an Instagram shoppable kind of brand.
Yeah.
And you're right, in terms of how you want to consume that content, you've got longer form content with Instagram TV, you've got the, short little snippets of stories and then the newsfeed content as well. But something that I think a lot of small businesses don't know much about right now is that Instagram TV. And I know that this is a space that you've recently spent a lot of time kind of getting to know and experimenting with. So can you tell us what kind of companies are using Instagram TV? What kind of content are they sharing? How are we supposed to use this?
Well, you know what? There are less than I would expect of companies using it, and the ones that are using it are still trying to work out how to use it. And I think the best way of thinking of IGTV or Instagram TV is like YouTube. Most people are putting videos up that are around 4 minutes long, but I think you can go up to 10 minutes, but God knows why I'd want to do that. But 4 minutes is roughly what people seem to be doing. And companies, like a lot of sporting companies, are using it, and TV channels like Netflix, ESPN, American, a lot of them. But it is interesting to see how they're using it. So people like ESPN, which is a sporting channel over in America, they have created their own branded templates that they use, so that if things get shared or if anyone's watching it, they have that brand there in front of them. Some companies like, you see Three Birds Renovations, the girls.
Yes,
so
they're on YouTube, aren't they?
Yeah. So they're starting to do a few things. And even if you go and have a look at their IGTV, the biggest one for them, and I must admit I've watched it like 3 times, is how to fold a fitted sheet. They only just...
I want to know that.
I know, and I still can't get it. It's hilarious. You've got to watch it because it works really well, but it does hurt your brain a bit the way that they do it. But she does a lot of like sticking her hands into the middle of the sheet and folding it over, but you really need the video to look at it, and it's gone so well. So I think just little instructional videos like that. There's a lot around. I think Elle magazine do this thing where they get celebrities to they give them 5 words, and they've got to find a song that's got a word in it and sing a bit of that song. Like, so simple and basic.
Yeah,
but,
right.
that's celebrities, and it's a bit different in regional Australia, isn't it? Because we don't have that we can't tap into that. But you can certainly collaborate with other businesses. How-to videos are definitely big. I think if you can educate, entertain, empower, those are my 3 big ones.
Yes.
Any way that you can make people feel like they're learning something, help them out, you're giving information and entertaining people at the same time. That's how we can see it being used more and more. So I think, and incorporating your branding in terms of colours, as you would with Instagram anyway. And just using your voice. People just want to get to know you, the business.
Yeah. And look, I would agree with that. I must say I haven't spent a lot of time. We've only just started posting some videos in there ourselves for Dragonfly, and I haven't even spent a lot of time kind of in there consuming content. I think I saw Roxy Jasenko had some kind of send up campaigns in there. I think I only saw 1 or 2. And Mia Friedman, I must say I got stuck on one of her videos. She always does everything so well, God love her. Mia Friedman from Mamma Mia, and I think what they did was, and it was exactly as you said, it was like a how-to, and she had one of their makeup team come and show how to put eye shadow on.
Yes.
And I was captivated.
Yeah.
I was so busy at the time. I had so many things that I had to do, and I got lost in this video of how to put eye makeup on.
I know, isn't it just such a rabbit hole? I think we spend a lot of our time, and it is all research, admittedly, but you can get quite lost. And I think for regional businesses to look at other businesses in their area that are doing great things, and they could be big international businesses.
Yeah.
If just find ways to do, like pretty much copycat, just do your own version of that.
Yeah.
So
take inspiration. Take inspiration.
Exactly, yeah. Because they've got these big marketing companies that are working for them and coming up with this. So just, it's just sharing the love.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. And as you said, like, you don't need to copy it word for word, but if you can see that something's working for another business, why wouldn't you kind of take some inspiration as to that kind of thing and apply it to your own? So then what are your biggest tips for businesses wanting to use the Instagram TV platform? I think too, bearing in mind that a lot of small businesses won't have they might not have even hopped onto the Instagram TV platform. Where do they start with this? What do you recommend they do?
Yeah, look, I know for a lot of people it's very overwhelming to even be on camera. And the frustrating thing for us is that we see that a lot of people want to see the people behind the business, and business owners get scared and go, oh, but I don't want to be in front of the camera. I feel uncomfortable, awkward. We say to our clients, just jump on, like, make a time and I do it all the time. I've hardly put anything of my own stuff up, but every Monday morning, just for 5 minutes, I'll put the camera on me and just do a little spiel. And, most of it's just sitting on my phone, or I'll delete it straight away, but it's just getting used to being in front of a camera, I guess.
Yeah.
The other thing to do is, if you are just dreading it and hate being in front of the camera, is to interview other people. So it sort of makes you look like the expert, and you're asking the questions that people would frequently ask you. So it means that you can talk to somebody else, another business, and ask the questions that people would always want to ask them or of you. So it gives you somebody to bounce off, and you can still pull your personality out there, put it out there, without feeling so confronted that you're looking down the barrel of a camera.
Yes.
So that helps. What other ideas are there? I think those how-tos are really great, and I think anytime you can think, oh, what's the question that people always ask me about my business, just answer that, or the top three. And another thing is testimonials. So if you can, I know with real estate, we've got a few real estate clients, and as well as putting up videos of particular properties. And we find talking to, say, a mortgage broker about, what's the best, if you've never bought a house before, what are the first steps? Talking to them about that. And the testimonials, which is more just your best clients who just love you, saying, would you mind just jumping in front of my phone for just a couple of seconds and just say what you love about. That's right. And at least these days you can do it on a phone. It's not as confronting as a big camera that's right in your face. That's right.
Gosh, that's some really good tips there. And because you're absolutely right. Like, one of the main things about getting on Instagram TV is that you actually have to, or IGTV, is that you actually have to create the video content. And for a lot of businesses, that video content is going to star you or your customers. But I love your idea about, interviewing other people, because then it takes the emphasis off you if you don't want it to be, all about you, but still aims to add value and that how-to kind of content, which is exactly where YouTube stemmed from, is that how-to. That's exactly why people became so famous on YouTube, was because they were adding value with showing people how to do things like fold fitted sheets. I discovered that YouTube video. How have I not searched for it? My goodness, it's been a lifelong challenge.
I know. It's ridiculous.
Oh gosh. That's great. Good advice. And of course, when you're filming for Instagram TV, you do actually have to have your phone is it in portrait mode or in square mode?
Either is fine. We find, so if you can shoot in 4K, so if you go into your phone settings, you can choose the size of the video that you're using.
Yeah.
So if you go in there into settings and choose 4K, which is the highest setting really for video, it means that the quality is going to be good enough that if you do shoot horizontally, landscape, that means that it'll turn the other way as well. You can cut in a bit more, and that can be vertical. So with IGTV, people are now filming just straight vertical, but you can do either. So you'll see that, for the first 58 seconds, you can watch it in your Instagram news feed, and then it'll say to keep watching, click on the IGTV button, and then it goes into vertical.
Right.
So it's a bit tricky in that sense. But look, I think for small businesses, I don't want to overwhelm people. I think it's just testing the waters. And look, my biggest tip for people, we've done this with our real estate client, Fitzgerald Estate Agents, early on, and we've sort of changed track now. But for people in Port Macquarie or wherever you are, regional Australia, people are really proud of their town. Yes. With Instagram, you can search. So for us, we search the hashtag Orange NSW, but you guys would be Port Macquarie.
Yeah.
Go looking for beautiful photos that people have taken of your town.
Yeah.
And you can pull them all together. You just tag them all, just a small tag down the bottom, or you can just list them all in your Instagram feed.
Yeah.
But you could pull all of those images together and create a little slideshow with a bit of music behind it using Splice, which I love. Splice is an app that's sort of it's like an editor basically for your phone content. So pull it all together and create this beautiful montage of your hometown, just with beautiful shots that people have taken.
Such a good idea, Holly.
And then you don't have to do anything really, apart from to sit there and edit a bit.
And do you have to, so in that case, because you're kind of pulling other people's photo into what you are repurposing as your own content, do you just tag the people that originally took the photo to make sure it's all legit?
Yes. Yep. So, and that's the great thing about Instagram. People are posting things to be shared. So as long as you give them a bit of credit. And we found with Fitzgerald Estate Agents, we'd post, so every second shot we'd do a for sale or a sold image of his, or brand it up, and then we do a beautiful shot of Orange, and we just say, look at this fantastic shot taken by blah, tag them in. If you're giving them a bit of love, then we've never had anyone
complain.
No, God, no. And then you find other people come to your site knowing we've had, the actual visitor centre and the tourism guys come to his page just to source content because they knew that we'd gone to the trouble of finding it all. And then they'll share it from our page. So there's some beautiful shots out there. So you just have to look up go to the keywords, the hashtag of or the location.
Region.
It's the other one you can search for the region.
And you've and particularly in the Central West, and particularly Orange, because you've got such amazing brands around there. You've got some fantastic, I would imagine some fantastic regional photographs that are being taken and uploaded, even just by everyday kind of people, because they've all got such beautiful properties, and Orange is beautiful. It's the same with Port Macquarie. We've got so many beaches, and we've got so many talented photographers in the region. And I'm sure, every region has, a beautiful part, whether it's the architecture, the main street, the people of the regions, or the geographical stuff. Pulling that together as part of your brand story is such a great idea, and it does demonstrate that kind of community collaboration and that community involvement as well, which is, as you said, Holly, so true, so important and endearing to people of a particular within a particular region. Great,
definitely,
great tip. So what about from a branding perspective? So we've got these ideas of, getting people on video and maybe repurposing some other photos from the region and all the different ways that we can kind of tell our story on Instagram. What are some of the branding considerations that small businesses might need to consider if they're going to be posting regular content so that they can build up, that consistent brand positioning, especially if we're using different photos and different interviews and different people? How can they pull it all together with their branding?
Well, I think the main thing to think about is that you are not on these social media platforms for you to just keep spurting out all the services that you have. And I mean, that's kind of what you want to embed in there. But at the end of the day, you're there for them. So what's in it for the customer or the target audience or the people that are looking at your content? So keep that in mind all the time. Try not to do the sell, sell, sell. Just give, give, give. So definitely take a look at like-minded brands and see what they're doing. Have a look at what the services are that you have, and maybe every 5 posts or every 5 videos you talk about that. But otherwise, you want to really empower them with knowledge or entertain the people that are reading your content or looking at your imagery. We find that keeping your brand colors or your just little hints of your logo, or say you've got a circle in your visuals, trying to incorporate circles, keeping a lot of space on your news feed so that everything's nice and clean and clear. I find that if sometimes our clients get a bit excited, especially hotels, and they might have something on this weekend and they're panicking and they need to shout about it. So they'll put a lot of text on their post. I can't stand text, but I mean, Facebook and Instagram don't like it either. So they'll quite often, it just won't reach as many people. But what I'll do is I'll go back at the end of the month through the feed and just clean out any ones that were, Happy Easter. That's been and gone now. So let's clean that off, and just keep the beautiful imagery. And focus on your brand colors and things like Canva, which is an app that a lot of people know about, good Aussie app. And it once you know your brand colors, and you can use the little hashtag keyword, what do you call it? The color.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a designer. But anyway, once you know your colours and you can save those little numbers.
The Pantone kind of.
Yes,
CMYK,
yes. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
So once you know those, just save that somewhere if you don't have the professional Canva subscription. As long as you know your colours, just keep using those every now and then with the backgrounds or shapes, or if you have to have text on something. And that just means that when you're looking at your news feed, you just want it to look clean and pretty and well branded. And you can do the same with IGTV. You could use, if you've got a title, you use your colors, and I think that's really important because it is such a visual thing.
And they're subtle little hints, like they're not big blurts of your logo, as you said, kind of dominating the image, or like kind of overly overt references to your brand. It's just subtle little colours being used, or fonts. Yes, perfect example. So it's still contributing to that brand story, and it's still building up, memories in people's minds. But it doesn't have to be that really overt, promotion of your brand.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would be a big mistake, I would imagine, is being too overt with your selling and promoting using the platform. What are some of the other mistakes that you see businesses make with their social media marketing efforts?
I think other things that I see quite a bit are that you're hiding yourself. You're not putting yourself out there. A lot of businesses, or the people that own the businesses, they're so busy talking about their the services that they have, or it's great when they can show some of the people in their business, but at the end of the day, people want to see you. We find that more often than not, the biggest the posts with the most engagement and reach are the ones where you're just in front of the camera. So they don't have to be beautiful, pretty photos that are taken by professionals, but people want to see the people behind the business. So even if you can just once every month pop a picture up of yourself, it would be amazing. It definitely makes a big difference. And I think using stock imagery is another thing. So just grabbing something from the internet with that looks so American, or even Oz stock, which is great because it's Australian photos. Somehow that just, you really notice the difference. Using Oz stock is good, but if you could get a professional photographer, say you're a restaurant or a cafe, if you could even just with your seasonal menu get a professional photographer to come in and just go crazy and pull together a library of shots that then you can then use for 3 months or so. That makes such a difference, and people don't mind if you reuse the same photo a couple of times throughout your feed. But just having that bank of photos that you can go to makes a big difference. And I think it's just encouraging conversation. Remember that you are trying to have that two-way conversation with people. So ask questions and do little quizzes and have a bit of fun with things. Use Insta Story. It's fantastic. It's so much fun. I know businesses are very busy, but if you can find the time just to create a little quiz, and Instagram actually gives you, in the create section on Insta Story, it gives you ideas of the sort of things you can ask people and the fun you can have. So use it, have fun with it.
Some fun with it. And look, I agree with you. Look, I it's not just Instagram where I hate stock shots. Like I just hate stock shots, full stop. The only exception to the rule that I sometimes use is actually the Unsplash site. From every now and again, just for blog posts and things, because sometimes when you're a service, it's really hard to actually have photos because your product is intangible and you can only post so many photos of MacBooks. But like on Instagram, I think where you're telling your personal story and creating your, kind of unique look and feel, like there's just no room for those stock shots because A, everybody's seen them, and B, people can see a bloody stock shot coming from, miles away. People know that, and all of a sudden there's no authenticity, there's no real, there's no, you've kind of lost any kind of opportunity to connect, I think. So I think that's a really, really good point. What about and you've shared already some great examples of some case studies or stories about how some of the businesses that you've worked with have had significant positive impact by using Instagram, particularly with the real estate and their kind of leverage of the nuance of regional inclusion, I guess, and regional reference in their posts. Have you got any other stories about businesses that have used Instagram really cleverly and got some really good results?
Oh, look, we have found most of our clients that are targeting people that use Instagram. And I think you have to be really careful there that you consider your target audience and are they using Instagram, that audience, because, Facebook's always going to be, for regional areas, that's going to be your go-to. But with Instagram, we've found probably one of our success stories is with Orange Vet Hospital. I mean, you're working with animals, so you're always going to win there anyway. But we've found and I think a lot of people that have pets post images on Instagram, and you see so many pets having their own Instagram accounts, which I just can't believe. But anyway, you've got to make the most of these things. So we were finding that, a lot of people in Orange love coffee. We have so many cafes. It's ridiculous. People follow their favorite cafes on Instagram, and we decided to make that connection with pets and cafes by creating the Orange Vet Pet Cafe hashtag, and we we went around to all of the cafes to see if they had, if they were pet friendly. So if they have a water bowl out the front of the cafe, if they had, pet treats on the menu, which is the ultimate. Not many have that at this stage, but we're trying to encourage more cafes to be pet inclusive, while also tapping into that Instagram love of coffee, cafes, and pets. So we gave certificates out to the cafes that were pet friendly. So we get a photo of the owner of the cafe holding their certificate, and encourage people to. We had a competition where we asked people, which is your favorite cafe for pets, and you'd win a voucher to that cafe to then take your pet there for a coffee, and for the pet to enjoy some dog bowl action. So
that is such a good idea.
Yeah.
That is
a
great idea.
And it's always growing because, I think a lot of businesses go, okay, I can't. And I think in the old days of PR, you try and do everything so well and set it all up exactly all at the same time to happen. We've decided the easiest way is to just do it in little bits. So we started with the competition with the locals, asking them which is their favorite cafe. Then we went and looked at all of the cafes and gave them the certificates. And now we're looking at the IGTV of actually going to each of these cafes and doing a little video with them, with Orange Vet Hospital, and reviewing it from a dog's point of view. And there's so many things you can do. So it'll be just this growing, building thing that just keeps going.
I love it. That's so creative. And my next question for you is about measurement. How can businesses measure their Instagram efforts? And I think it would be great if you had an example of how are you measuring the impact of that campaign? What are the things that you're looking at for that campaign to go, okay, we think, yes, it's an amazingly clever idea and I love it, but how are we actually, working out if this is successful or moving the kind of business needle, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, the great thing about Facebook and Instagram is that you do have those insights, and I encourage everyone to go into their insights and have a look at, well, firstly, Facebook, fantastic to be able to see, and Instagram, you can see not only who your audience is that's currently looking at your page, whether they're men, women, their ages, where they're from, but also what hours and days that they're on their social media. So it pretty much can tell you, okay, if I'm just going to post twice a week even, and Tuesdays and Thursday nights at 8:00 are the peak times, then that's what you do every week. You show up on those days at those times, and then anything else is just additional and fantastic. But, if you've got access to that kind of those analytics, you should definitely be using them. So we tend to look at the insights. We keep a track of that. We do a monthly report for our clients, and with things like this campaign, it's going to be constantly growing. But to be able to see, if those posts are shared by the cafes, for example, if there's a photo they share, then that is definitely a big tick. If anyone starts using a hashtag that we've created, so like the bald painter, if they start tagging him into things, that's what you want to see, is when people start using those hashtags and your tag, because they want you to see things. And then I think the great thing about regional Australia that is you can't use as much in metro is word of mouth. So if people come up to Simon Roberts, the painter, and say, "Oh, you're the bald painter," then we know we have definitely ticked some boxes. And then if he gets he gets one job, he's paid for his marketing for a year. So that's the big thing. If we can show our clients that they have got a new client or got a job because of that social media, then we've ticked a big box.
And Holly, I love that answer, because what you're measuring there is significant impact to a business. As you said, if someone's coming up to someone that didn't previously know that painter, if someone's coming up to the painter and going, "Are you the bald painter?" and then they get into a conversation and that leads to a job, at the end of the day, that shifts the business needle in the right direction. And as you said, it's about people sharing that content or using that hashtag, which is a level of engagement that is much further beyond simply liking a post or, giving the love heart in Instagram. it's much, certainly looking at things like how many people have seen this post and how many people have liked it. Sure, that's important somewhere along the lines. But as you've said, the measurements that you're looking for are, significant change. Someone's actually picked up this content and shared it to their network and having further amplified it by, hundreds, possibly thousands. So I think they're really, really great and sound measurements. Awesome. Holly, gosh, you've had some amazing insight, and I've loved your case studies and examples. I've loved your reference to regional areas and how businesses can really kind of take advantage of being in regional areas, because as you said, there's more chance that people know people and that will talk. And so bringing that kind of stuff from Instagram into conversations is powerful. If people want to know more from you, Holly, or if they want to see some of your work, where can they find you?
Oh, Jane. Well, of course, we're all over social media. So we're manning PR and events on Instagram and Facebook, and currently redoing our website. So I think we're really lucky in regional areas that we are so accessible. So your business and my business, I think that's the great thing about it, is that we're here. I think we're alike like that. We're here to help regional businesses succeed, and we are so happy to give away as much information as needed to these businesses to see them succeed. And quite often we'll see people on Instagram businesses and go, oh God, if they just did this, it would just make it. So we'll contact them and say, or if there's a spelling mistake, we'll contact them and go, oh guys, just letting you know, if you did this, that would help you engage with more people. We're really lucky that we have some fantastic clients, very loyal clients that we've had for 6 years, but we're also discovering new businesses all the time, and new businesses are starting, and we just want to see them succeed, and we want to sort of not take down the big giant chain shops, but I want to see boutique businesses succeed in regional Australia, and they can. So I love the fact that people are really shopping local more and more, and that's what we're here for, to help them do that. So yeah, jump on and have a look for us, and contact us if you've got any questions. We're always happy to hear from people from anywhere in regional Australia and Metro.
Awesome. So that's Manning PR and Media, and you're on Instagram and Facebook, and you can Google you to find your website as well.
Yeah, and LinkedIn. We all love
and LinkedIn, of course. Yay. How do I forget LinkedIn? Oh, brilliant. Thank you so much for that, Holly. Really, really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me, Jane. It was such fun.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of How to Do Marketing, featuring the gorgeous Holly Manning. I think Holly showed us how thinking outside of the box to craft clever content on Instagram can be really impactful. I loved her idea around starting fun and unique hashtags that become remarkable offline as well as online, like that idea of hashtag the bald painter. That's awesome. Also, curating stunning local or themed imagery and compiling it into a slideshow to showcase your region, as well as integrating online with offline with her vets and cafe initiative. I think that's creative brilliance right there. If you would like to continue receiving practical and achievable marketing ideas and inspiration for your small business, hit subscribe so you won't miss an episode of the How to Do Marketing Show. And hey, if you are in a Facebook group full of other small business owners and you think that they might get something out of the How to Do Marketing Show, please do share the love. Until next time, happy marketing.
You've been listening to another Morgan Media production.